he is thriving. He's in mainstream school.
Louise, how did you find Carnivore?
Basically, the start of my journey, it was 2020 in lockdown. And I got a health scare. And where do they say not to turn to is Google. So what did I do? I turned to Dr. Google, and I found the lifestyle change I needed, because no medical doctor has been able to help me over many years. And yeah, so Dr. Google saved my life, I would say. And when I say Dr. Google, I mean everybody in the space of low carb, keto, ketovore, and eventually carnivore. And one of the very first videos I watched was Dr. Paul Mason from Low Carb Down Under about cholesterol. And, you know, that started the motion of watching another video, because then you watch another video, because the algorithm on YouTube or Google takes you to another video of another expert and another expert and another expert. And then I started reading their books that they were recommending, and just going deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. So initially well, the story was that I had growths on my liver, and the doctor phoned me one night at home to say that I've got growths on my liver and I've got to go for an urgent cancer scan. They found the growths because I've got a congenital heart disease through an MRI scan that I have every 5 years. And so this was only a secondary finding. And my heart condition was fine. But because it was lockdown, I couldn't go see a doctor. It was all on a phone call. So it was quite emotional, stressful, having to wait. And that's why I Googled it. And I'm so thankful that I did Google, because here I am. It started back in, like I say, in lockdown. So it was September 2020, thereabout. And I've then went on to, like I say, find the low carb community. And then I started keto. And I lost 30 kilos in about 4 months. But at that time, I had surgery on my foot, so I couldn't really walk. The gyms were closed. I was on a couch sitting at home, no exercise. And I lost the weight by just changing my diet. I didn't even have to exercise because I couldn't exercise. So I've got before and after photos, all of that sort of stuff. Then the gyms opened back in May 2020. And then I just thought I need to start going to the gym. And then September of 2021, I started weight training, because then again, in this Dr. YouTube and Dr. Google, I found, oh, weight training is great for women, you know, where before I would do cardio and do all the steps in a day that my Fitbit shows, and I would just not lose weight. I kept putting on weight, high blood pressure. I used to have candida overgrowth all the time, migraines. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, what am I going to have today to deal with? I couldn't get up in the morning. Plantar fasciitis, so then you pain in your feet before you have to warm up after a few minutes. Then you limp, walk around, then it gets better during the day as it goes on. I had chondromalacia patella in my knees. I couldn't go up and down the stairs without holding onto the banisters. It was just a myriad of stuff that always, you know, skin tags I had on my eyes or on my neck here, they all gone. And again, I didn't know skin tags are insulin resistant, so pre-type 2 diabetes. It shows you there's all these messages in our body telling us how metabolically unhealthy we are, and we can't see it for what it is. But now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what that meant. I know what that meant. I know what that meant. Now, as a child, I was severely allergic to wheat. So I would stop breathing, and I grew out of it as I got older, but it wasn't growing out of it. I was just tolerating it slightly better, but it would still close my chest. I couldn't breathe after eating bread, but then I would drink some water and I'll feel better. And I'm like, okay, but bread tastes nice, but I'm like, my chest closes, I can't breathe. And then I had a massive swollen belly all the time, irritable bowels, gut issues, gas, as you know, all these issues that you didn't realize is caused by all of this. I just didn't know.
Most of these issues resolved when you went to keto, or did it take till you went to carnivore until it resolved?
Most of it resolved over the period of the last 4 years. And then you notice, until it's not there anymore, you don't really notice. And then suddenly it's like, oh, that's gone. My heartburn, I used to take those Gaviscons all the time. It's just this myriad of stuff. You can't like pinpoint one thing. I used to have this annoying dry patch on my one big toe. I know it sounds silly. And no cream, nothing would take this stupid dry patch away. And then recently I was like, where's that dry patch? It was like a big scaly dry skin and it's just gone. Cracked heels. I used to have cracked heels all the time. That's not sexy on a lady walking in flip-flops in the summer. I don't have cracked heels anymore. Like all these tiny little things just make sense that your skin is telling you stuff. And we need to read those signs as information. But we don't see it because we don't know. Doctors just keep giving you another cream, a steroid, a pill, have another this, have another that.
When did you get to the point where you realized, okay, well, I want to graduate from keto to carnivore?
It was after I started the weight training. I had my partner and he was telling me, you need more protein, you need more protein. And then I kept watching all these YouTube videos. And then I started to realize, oh, so Paul Mason, again, he was actually carnivore, but he wasn't saying it in so many words at the time. I think a lot of people were careful to use these words. Talking low carb keto was sort of the message I was hearing. But then I found Sean Baker and Anthony Chafee, Jason Fung, and it just kept growing. What is the other guy? Professor Tim Noakes. And the more I watch all the videos, the more I learn, the more I realize, well, I don't need plants. I'm lazy. I just want to have eggs, beef, butter. I don't have to think about food, what recipe to make. Things were so much easier after I started to realize I need more protein. Okay. And I don't have to track macros and work out the ratios. And so life is now just so much easier. Just eat when I'm hungry.
That's been how long?
So carnivore, I started February 2022.
Okay. Oh, wow. So more than 2 years. And so how are you eating day to day on carnivore?
Usually I go to the gym first in a fasted state, do weight training about 5 times a week. And then I'll come back and have whatever meat, eggs and butter. So it could be pork belly, it could be beef, obviously feeling best on beef. And any fatty chicken or salmon, mackerel, sardines, any fatty animal products, lots of eggs, and lots of butter and salt. That's mainly it. That would be about lunchtime. So that will be meal 1. I call it 11, 12, 1 o'clock, depending on when I'm hungry. So I just listen to my body. And then later in the day, if I'm hungry, I might have a bone broth drink because I don't feel like another heavy meal. Because that's just another bit of digestion to go on and stuff. So I just drink a bone broth meal, which is just beef, eggs and butter and salt. And I just drink it. So then it's a nice warm drink. Or now and again, I'll have another meal, but it won't be heavy. So I'll just have basically one big meal a day and eat as far away from bedtime as possible.
What is the status with your liver and your heart now?
Yeah, so the congenital heart disease was diagnosed at age 12 and I had to have major surgery to have it repaired. And then that specific condition, coarctation of the aorta, it's called. Normally people get high blood pressure. So I've been monitored for this over many years and have annual checkups and scans, and things have been very stable and okay, but the blood pressure kept creeping up as my weight was going up. But nobody told me, the doctors, the cardiologists didn't tell me, you need to be careful about this and your diet needs to change, or nothing like that. It's just like, oh, when it goes higher, here's going to be medication, you're going to be on it for the rest of your life. And if the narrowing happens again in the aorta, you're going to have a stent. And I was just trying to avoid all of this. So then eventually I went plant-based. I'm like, I'm going to eat sort of healthy, no fat, no butter. I don't do dairy anyway. Plant-based is so much better for me. You know, red meat's bad and it's going to give me heart attack and cholesterol and all these things. And that was in my later 20s, early 30s. And so I'd just never eat meat. I would always eat all the vegan or vegetarian options on a menu. Because it's good for me and the environment, but nothing I was doing was getting better. And I'm trying to prevent a heart attack or clogging of the arteries because I've got this congenital heart disease. So I'm trying everything. I'm exercising. I've got kids that I've got to look after. So, you know, I'm not trying to be unhealthy, but it just, nothing was working. Anyway, the liver scan I had was cysts, apparently. And then I said to the doctor, okay, so what causes it? We don't know, but some people just get them and we need to keep an eye on them to make sure they don't turn nasty. And that was it. That was the only advice I got. Like, and if you got this symptom, and this symptom, come back to us because then we'll have to investigate further. So, and then I found Professor Siegfried and all his cancer as a metabolic disease, you know, and I've just been going down this rabbit hole of living a clean lifestyle, trying to have as few toxins in my body to prevent further diseases. Yeah.
Overall, though, you're feeling, I mean, the cracked heels are gone, all of this stuff's gone. Overall, you're feeling much better, right?
Overall, I'm feeling much, much better. And also what's happened is I'm full of energy, so I'm always running in ketosis. I know I am. I test from time to time just for interest sakes. I've worn CGM, CKM before just to see what's happening and everything. You know, I feel amazing. But then I've joined the Public Health Collaboration in the UK as an ambassador, so that I'm now teaching at the doctor surgeries, the patients that's got type 2 diabetes or pre-type 2 diabetes. We do these courses and I'm an advocate for that. And we've already, my GP locally, she's amazing. She's supporting me, and you don't get the healthcare professionals supporting normally. And she is facilitating me doing these courses at the surgery with the patients. She identifies the patients and then we'll take the course and deliver it. And the lifestyle changes those patients have made, reversing type 2 diabetes within about 12 weeks. The patient stories are amazing. And, you know, it's the support we provide afterwards, private Facebook group, private WhatsApp groups. And we're now busy getting another GP surgery on board. People are, it's changing slowly, but people like myself, we go out there in the community and try and help the GPs because they don't have enough time with the patient. So we do these hour-long sessions for 8 weeks. Then I've studied a course through the Nutritional Network of South Africa, the Tim Noakes Foundation and all of that, to be an international low-carb advisor. So I've qualified in that. And now I'm busy doing my physical training and sports nutrition qualification as well. So all the energy and, you know, it feels like I've found where I belong and what can I do to help others? It's just amazing. So I'm full of energy, life, no more fatigue. I play with the kids in the park and, you know, they can't keep up with me.
How did you get your GP on board? Like, It seems very out of character.
Exactly. So the GP who called me about the growths on my liver, she was my normal GP at the surgery. And I don't know if you know in the UK how it works. And there's a senior GP that's sort of the partner. And she went and told the partner about a patient of hers that had this major lifestyle change, and she's doing keto, but her cholesterol is going up and up and up. And so the senior GP, she realized I'm doing this, and she's believed in low carb because she found, I can't remember exactly what happened. She read a book or something, and then she realized her eyes went open, and she was like, oh my gosh, we need to talk. This is amazing. And she knew I was with the public health collaboration, and she heard of Dr. David Unwin, and she's like, I need to get we need to get the story out there. We need to tell other patients. And she wants the other GPs to also understand what she's saying, because if she's talking about it, they all roll their eyes at her and think, there she goes again. So she needed somebody like me, a patient, to prove that, look, this is not dangerous. It's not unhealthy. So yeah, my cholesterol is now through the roof, and I'm seeing a special cardiologist for that. They want me on statins, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I've got to read you what the doctor said. He said something, I've seen a very interesting patient with a weird diet that's got an interesting response to a lean body mass or something. And this is a professional cardiologist. He won't listen to me when I'm saying, look, I'm not going to take the statins, but my HDL to triglyceride ratio is 0.5. That's what you've got to look at. And he's like, no, we don't look at that. We look at LDL. And my LDL is 15, I think. So he eventually realized that I'm not going to take it. And even if he gives me the injection, it won't bring it down into normal limits either, he said. So, and I had a CAC score, and that came out at 0. So I can't get healthier than that, I feel.
So that's 580 for your LDL. Wow. Your LDL surpasses my total cholesterol, and that takes some doing. Wow. Okay.
So
and yeah, the cardiologist is basically having a heart attack about this.
Thinking I'm going to drop dead any minute, but I've been doing this for more than 2 years. I feel healthy. I am full of energy. I sleep well. I've got great muscle mass on my body for longevity. You know, these things is much more important. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have any of the metabolic issues that most of the cardiac patients sitting in that room, if you sit in one of these cardiac waiting rooms, it's frightful to see. And then I'm thinking, well, how many of your patients are in my health status with a BMI of 22, where it used to be 35, high blood pressure that needed my medication, everything is fine, but now my LDL is a problem. Where everything used to be terrible, but my LDL was fine. We're looking at the wrong thing here.
Right. And before they would have been saying to you, oh, your cholesterol's great. Good job. Meanwhile, you're feeling like crap, right?
Yes. And my waist circumference was 120 centimeters. My blood pressure was 180 over 110. You know, my weight was 90 kilograms and my height is 160. So I'm not that tall. So I was a large lady with lots of health conditions, but great LDL.
Good job. So have you noticed any change with oral health?
Yeah, so again, with the cardiac patients, we always have to have antibiotics for some reason before you go see a dentist. The only thing, I used to have bleeding gums. Now I don't have bleeding gums anymore, but I now don't even use toothpaste. I just use bicarb soda to brush my teeth. because again, all the fluoride and all the problems in there. So no, thank you.
So you don't have bleeding gums anymore. And I mean, I'm guessing, this is just based on my experience, that you don't get the same kind of buildup on your teeth throughout the day.
Yes, exactly. If I don't brush my teeth for 3 days, it doesn't matter because I never feel a film on my teeth.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned your partner before. Is he down with this? Is he doing it?
He done it for a little bit, but he's very animal based, so he still has some carbs, but no processed rubbish, you know. And yeah, he's at the gym. He's also very muscly. You know, we go to the gym for weight training, not for cardio, and we don't have to work hard or sweat or anything to get the gains. And we eat delicious food, never hungry. It's a win-win. I've also got 3 kids, and so that's another bit of the story. My youngest is 8 years old. He's a boy with Down syndrome. And again, in this whole space that I've been learning on Dr. Google, I found a really great paper on people with Down syndrome and how they metabolize sugars differently. And that's why they've all got these metabolic syndromes earlier in life. So they're very prone to type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, obesity, high blood pressure, heart issues, a lot younger. And I've put my son, he just eats. Every morning I cook him a breakfast, eggs, butter, and whatever meat there is. And he likes sardines, bacon, sausage, whatever. I don't give him 100% clean sausages, but it would be the best I can do, like 97%. And he is thriving. He's in mainstream school. His hearing went from, he used to wear in-ear hearing aids. And after he's gone so heavy animal-based, his hearing normalized that he no longer needs hearing aids. And again, I've seen these things on some of the YouTube channels that people's hearing improves. Literally, he didn't need it anymore. He is cognitively so amazing, and his speech and understanding is, for a child with Down syndrome, I cannot explain it. You wouldn't know he's got Down syndrome unless you looked at him. Otherwise, he's so able to understand the world around him, which is just mind-blowing. And his sisters, they like meat, and I just, you know, I don't force them to do anything. I just give them the information. And if I give them food, it's very meat heavy with some carbs on the side. And it's usually mushrooms and cucumber and olives. So low carb sort of alternatives. There's not rice and pasta and bread overload. It would be a very, very small portion. And my son, he normally leaves the carbs at the end.
So your son, being 8 years old, I guess he's been eating this way for a couple of years, yeah?
Yes. There's a bit of a caveat to the story. The little bit of a caveat is that I'm split from his dad, and he doesn't agree with it. So when he's with daddy, the diet is a bit different, of a lot of takeaways and eating out. With me, it's all home-cooked food, animal-based.
So, like, do you notice a difference when he's been having that kind of takeout and that kind of thing, and then he's back at home and maybe the way he is a little bit different? Or
there's a slight behavioral issues, but it can be up and down. But then also I notice he's got little spots sometimes on his skin, breakouts. And then when he's with me for a few days, those spots would go. And then when he comes back from daddy, these spots would be there again sometimes. And I'll be like, I'm sure it's something he eats. And he was diagnosed as a toddler with dairy and soy intolerance, where they done a biopsy, like in his gut, because he was having reflux all the time. And then eventually they said it's dairy and soy. Then they put us on oat milk. And it didn't really get that much better, but, you know, and I didn't know better at the time. So I feel so guilty for giving them all these seed oil laced plant alternatives. And that just didn't help. And his behavior, and obviously he was congested all the time. Gut issues, I guess. You know, he was little, so he couldn't really say stuff, but you could just see the symptoms. But it's all gone now. And if he has dairy now, he knows he gets phlegmy, and he'll go, no, thanks, I don't want that. It makes me phlegmy.
The change between when he was just on a regular diet, kind of full time, and then when he went to the way he's eating with you now, did you notice kind of dramatic differences, or is it pretty much the way he is from weekend to during the week?
I won't say it was a dramatic change, but I definitely know his cognition has improved a lot. The school he goes to is a mainstream school, and we get specialist services in through the charity that I work for, or sort of not work for, but help found, for people with Down syndrome in the local community. These specialists go in, and so the feedback from the specialist the one day was something like, they were talking to the teacher, and then my son would say the antlers on the deer, you know, pointing on a book or something. And they were like, did he just say antlers? And, you know, to us, it might sound like nothing, but he knows what antlers are. And the specialist said, the children don't normally even know what a deer is, but he knows what the antlers on a deer is. You know, so it's like his cognition, he's so bright. He knows so much. And that's the difference I saw. And his concentration, and the ability to sit down and read, you know, he's got just a bounce. He's a boy full of energy, so that's just always going to be there for a long time. But he can sit and focus for an hour on an activity if he enjoys it. He doesn't just go from one thing to the other in seconds, which is quite often the case.
Great to hear. So everyone in the family is eating better, feeling better. This is it for you guys? Probably stay this way forever?
Oh, definitely. I don't want to change. And like I said, the kids, I'm giving them this information that one day when they're older and they might get issues, then they'll go back and go, oh, mummy did say back then, she did know. And, you know, then they could go back, because it's never too late. And you know, they were their friends at school, in other social environments. It's difficult because of the peer pressure and stuff. So, but at home, they don't get any rubbish, and they don't ask for sweets. They don't ask for chocolates. There's no crisps. There's no biscuits. There's no treat drawer like other houses has. So they don't even ask for it because they know they won't get it here. And when we're in the shops, they won't ask for anything. They'll ask for olives and feta and mushrooms. Like, they know I will just say no otherwise. So I do the best I can. But when they're out and about, I don't force them to and say you can't have anything. So I don't want to make it a food issue either, and get them to have eating disorders.
So if you were giving someone advice on how to get started with carnivore, what advice would you give them?
Or depending on your personality, I guess, because I'm working with some vegans, and they've turned carnivore, and they've gone from vegan to carnivore. And I'm like, it's just too quick, too much, but it's their personality. And if they think they can do it, and again, my doctor, she says the vegans makes the best carnivores because they are so committed to their cause. And it is true.
I guess this will be the first time they've ever felt full. So, you know, it'll be easier for them to stick.
Exactly. I've got their voice recordings that they, you know, the support group we've got, and they're like, I cannot believe how I feel. This is amazing. We're sorry, Louise, we didn't listen to you when you said like 2 years ago. And I'm like, it's all right. They've just been suffering over 10 years. And I could see their posts on Facebook, how they're deteriorating. Each time I just want to say, eat a steak. Yeah, but, you know, I think that I went on the journey by finding keto, clean keto, ketovore, carnivore slowly. And I think that's maybe a better way to do it. And if you want to be carnivore from day one because you've got terrible health issues, maybe that's the best way. There is no one way of doing it. We've all got to find our path. But I do it for optimal health, and this is why I'm so strict about it, because I had that call about the growth on your liver, and I never want to go back there. So what is your reason why?
How can people reach out to you, Louise? Do you have a YouTube or a website or anything?
I do have a few of these social platform pages. Is Facebook. It's just my name, Louise Benning. I think there's a photo of me flexing some muscles. There is a TikTok that I do a few things. I'm not that active. I'm trying to be. And YouTube, I've got a little thing called The Strong Carnivoress, and on Instagram the same, The Strong Carnivoress. I can give you the links.
Sure, I'll include them all below. Louise, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.